But what we are looking at is the gift of the Spirit called the gift of faith. Faith. That's what we are looking at. What we are talking about is this gift of God, of the Spirit that is imparted. That is what? Is imparted in a believer to do impossible things. Now, we have pistis as faith in the Bible. Pistis as faith. It talks of conviction. That's the Greek word. It talks of what? Conviction. Conviction. It talks about belief. You have this conviction that God is God. This conviction that God will come through for you. A conviction, a belief that is captured as pistis. But when we are looking at the gift of faith, I want you to see it as a kind of ability that God imparts in a Christian that makes the hand of God to move. Is a persuasive ability that persuades the hand of God to manifest in something that naturally may not have solution. And the Greek captures it as pieto. To persuade the finger of God to manifest. To persuade the hand of God to be revealed. Now, the gift of faith is a kind of faith that does not take no as an answer. It's a stubborn faith. It's a rugged faith. It does not consider natural events. It does not consider how what is being said or what the body is feeling or what is being seen or what every other person is saying. But what he considers is what God has said. So this kind of faith is stubborn. Once he captures what God has said, he stands there and not going to move until what is said is being made manifest. That is this gift of faith. Now, a man that has the gift of faith does not pay attention to what people are saying, does not pay attention to what science is saying, does not pay attention to what the environment is saying, does not pay attention to what his life, his body is saying, does not pay attention to what family is saying, does not pay attention to what foundation is saying. He only pays attention to what God has said. And once that is captured, the one that has collected this gift stands on it until there is a physical manifestation. Now listen to me. You need to understand this. You need to understand it. You need to understand it. It is the Holy Ghost that imparts this gift in a believer. He gives this gift to a believer. That is, come sir. If this is in the hand of God, this is the hand of God. You cannot move it. You don't have what it takes to move my hand. Talk to me. So the Holy Ghost comes and puts something in your hand, like a key, that once that thing enters your hand, you can move my hand. Talk to me. Are you with me? The gift of faith is what the Holy Ghost puts in us, in a believer, that gives him a persuasive ability to persuade the hand of God. This is the kind of faith that moves mountain. It's not the normal faith. It's not given to every believer, but it's imparted by the Spirit. For instance, as we begin to look for it, and as we are hearing this teaching, it can be imparted because one of the things that, like I told you, all these gifts are available. The first thing is knowledge. What did I say? We saw it in verse 1 of 1 Corinthians chapter 12. We saw in verse 1 that Paul said, I wouldn't want you to be ignorant of this spirit. So knowledge, first of all, begins to activate all these gifts. So when you are beginning to learn it, are you with me? As you are learning it, as you are hearing it and learning it, the platform that permits its operation is given to you. That's why you need to pay attention as we teach these giftings. Because if you don't know about it, you cannot work with it. It is knowledge, first of all, that activates all these giftings. All of them, knowledge. All of them, the 9 of them, knowledge. Then, but because they are peculiar and separate, there are other keys also unlocks them. But the primary key is what? Knowledge. Because Paul said, I do not want you to be ignorant. And then the next thing he said, I would want you to desire. So you see that knowledge and quest. Are you with me? But in each of these giftings of the Spirit, there are other keys. So it's an impartation that the Holy Ghost imparts in a believer that gives him what it takes to move the hand of God. You cannot move the hand of God on your own. You can't move God's hand when he doesn't want to move. But the Holy Ghost comes and puts something in you that makes you to move God. That is the gift of faith. Do you understand it? Sit down, sir. Oh.